scared. I know you don't.
Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd, ready for you to make him go viral. Tonight in New Hampshire and other states, they are researching whether or not Trump is eligible to be on their ballot for president because of 14th Amendment conflicts. Stephen is back with NASCAR. We'll hear what he has to say about Bubba Wallace. Should he stay or should he go? Mitch McConnell, as Senate leader, he is backing the Senate Democrats as they support the Biden administration's agenda of a $40 billion plus supplemental spending package on Ukraine, border security, and domestic disaster relief. Colorado and Deion Sanders, they are tearing a new one in college football. We'll talk about that as well as the NFL with Aguna. And the Fulton County, Georgia courthouse had their first, I don't know, but they had their first television hearing on the Trump RICO trial. We'll talk about that and more if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen and NASCAR. What is Bubba Wallace doing with, and what's going on with NASCAR, Stephen? Oh,
Make the playoffs.
Can you start again, please?
Yeah, did you say that Bubba Wallace did not make the playoffs? Because I believe
Yes.
he did make the playoffs. It's just he can't get like team points and manufacturer points or something happened. I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure he's in the playoff picture. I'm not 100% now that you say it, because my mind has been a little bit off of NASCAR now that of course the NFL has come around and now everything's all NFL all the time. But I'm pretty sure Bubba is the last one to make it in. If he's not, I'll eat a hat, just like Nas said he would. But the difference with Nas is I'll come on this thing here, I'll show my face, and I will actually eat a hat. I may have to be hospitalized afterwards, but if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So we'll take it from there. So anyway, they're going to, I think Bubba's fine. They're going to Kansas this week. It's a cookie cutter kind of safe track for people. It's not the best track for, like, if you want to still talk about Bubba, not the best track for him, but he should get a top 15. He's been doing better lately, and his team's been doing better lately. And I thought Ross Chastain would do better than he is, but he's not. But they're gonna it's the playoffs, and it's NASCAR, and one thing NASCAR has done is they've also started something new, where they're gonna have people come in to train and be a part of their organization, but there's a group of people they're not letting apply, and I just think that's kind of harsh, because maybe everybody wants to be a part of it, and maybe one of each could be in there. I don't know, but NASCAR's got me a little bit peed.
Yeah, but when you say that, okay, they got you PO'd because what? Who are they not letting apply?
Caucasians, Europeans need not apply. That's what they're doing.
For what? What is it called?
I heard it like about a week ago, and I don't know what it's called, and I haven't looked through it anymore, but I heard it about a week ago, and it's a guy I very much trust, and he said that they're doing a thing where they're bringing in everything everybody knew, but it's a diversity thing, and if you're white, Caucasian, European, even if you're from Europe, you cannot apply. It's everybody but you, and that's like they were calling that like a Bud Light moment. That's like, what is NASCAR doing? But NASCAR is nothing but corporate. It's nothing but corporation. They can't survive without corporations spending money on them. So what do you expect them to do? I'm cool with it. I love racing. I think it's going to go away pretty soon, but I love it. I love it for what it is. And it's a lot of fun. If you saw this race like a couple weeks ago, a car flipped like 20 times and the guy walked away and raced the next week. This is a great sport and it's so safe and it's so much excitement. It's so much fun, but it really does. It really is.
As you can see on the screen, and I can't get rid of this other screen, it says nothing spells diversity. According to boundingintosports.com, nothing spells diversity, equity, and inclusion like blatant racism. NASCAR has decided to double down on their commitment to wokeness by offering a full-time paid diversity internship, which specifically excludes white people.
That's not cool.
So
and I'm not,
here,
even if I wasn't white, I would take that out.
Program requirements: be a member of one of the following racist ethnic minority classifications: Black or African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian, Latino or Hispanic, Native Hawaiian. Can you see that? Let me see if I can make that bigger. Oh man, I just lost it. I'm sorry. There we go. Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. Aguna, is that something that NASCAR as a corporation should be doing?
I don't, it's funny because when these for some reason, all of a sudden, diversity and inclusion programs have become a threat to our way of life. Versus just giving someone an opportunity to bring in a different perspective, a different demographic of folks that normally wouldn't be a part of NASCAR. I see it as a good strategy. I mean, it's not taking just because you're offering a internship. We're talking about one internship, by the way. We're not saying we're going to kick all white people out of NASCAR. We're saying, okay, give this one student one internship to come in and learn the business, to get us some exposure. Just one person. Now, all of a sudden, NASCAR is embracing wokeness and it's a threat to our society. It's uncool. We're being racist. We're doing no. This is just called diversity and inclusion. You're giving someone an opportunity. This is part of America. The opposite of this would be not to do it, right? Let's not do it. Let's not do any outreach. Let's not try to include other demographics and expand the sport to make it even more popular across the United States. Give me a break, people. One internship does not sink the ship. Let the guy come in or girl or whoever come in and learn. It's not a threat. Get over yourself. Stop it.
It says blacks need not apply. You would flip your lid. If it said blacks need not apply, you would go crazy. If it said blacks need not apply, you would be rioting. You would be burning buildings down. If it said blacks need not apply, you would be burning the buildings down.
You can be
You're full of crap, man.
The fact
one
we're
at a
talking
time,
about one internship,
I don't care.
A minority candidate, all of a sudden it's a threat. And the only way that you can get around even the topic is to try to say, oh, what if it said blacks don't apply? Look, how many blacks are in NASCAR? Give me a break. It's diversity. Get over it. We're a melting pot.
It says whites need not apply. It says whites need not apply. That's not right. It should never be based on race. It should never be based on race.
Apply to the hundreds of other internships.
All right, Cousin Todd. Okay, well, let me get Keith and then Cousin Todd.
One internship.
It doesn't matter.
It does, actually.
It should be none. It should be none.
I would agree with Stephen.
Of course,
I agree with Stephen because if the wording and the text actually says no, as Stephen said, no whites apply, then you are really just going back 100 years.
Yeah. But they don't care because it's white people. They don't care. It's white people.
When it said whites only in color, we're going back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Caucasian means colored now.
Shut up.
Declaration.
Please, boo-hoo, cry me a river. Cry me a river.
Okay, let me just, I didn't understand what Keith just said.
You weren't here.
Going back 100 years.
You weren't here.
What does that mean we're going back 100 years? Whites were discriminated against 100 years ago?
You're going to go back 100 years and say when blacks were discriminated.
No, it's not the same.
You're not going to apply it.
I don't.
We're talking
Okay.
about one internship at NASCAR.
Wrong.
One internship at NASCAR. We're not talking about.
Okay, Todd, make your point.
I
Todd.
hold these truths to be
Okay.
self that all men are created equal.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. If Stacy gives me a minute, I don't have to do it now, but a little bit later, I want to talk about all men are created equal. My family was applying for jobs when in the paper it said light-skinned colored girl wanted for front desk position. That was no big deal in Philadelphia. So why all of a sudden the outrage? Light-skinned colored girl wanted for front desk position. Bold as day. And I can get the paper that it was in and I can show you. So where was all the outrage then? That's just the way it was. And I just don't get white male Republicans, having the audacity to get outraged over things like this when women get paid less than men for doing the same job as men. They're not getting outraged about that. Remember the Lilly Ledbetter Act that Barack Obama tried to pass, where women can be paid the same as men for doing the same job as men? So where are all the white male Republicans outraged there? You don't get any.
It's an internship. Is it even paid? I mean, what are we really even talking about right here?
We're talking about, I don't want blacks to get in front of whites, and that's all there is to it.
Somehow this is taking away from you,
yeah,
the white person, because they're offering this job.
It is beyond sick.
It's not even full time.
Everybody should have an equal opportunity in this country.
They never did in this country.
They never
did.
Dumb.
Yeah, they did, dumb.
And he
until we had
Stephen knows
it. So stop.
Stephen knows that.
We have it now. We have
women,
it now. That's why you have inclusion programs like this.
Yes. Women couldn't even vote.
Because given its own devices, you wouldn't have diversity.
That's right. Let's talk about women. Women could not vote.
Diversity is good.
Given your own devices, we would have diversity.
No, we would not.
Yeah, we would.
When you go into a NASCAR stand or a race, how many black people do you see up there?
That's because they're not interested.
Oh, really? So how do you get them interested?
Well, that's not part of their culture.
That is part of our culture. It's a capitalist society. You go target demographics. That's what marketing and sales is about.
Part of our culture.
NASCAR is about speed and racing. It's not about.
Can I say this?
Not about finances.
NASCAR is a private company. They can do what they want to do.
Okay,
if this is a part to get the money,
Stacey, you have to move the show along.
And then we don't have nothing to do with them, and they will shut down.
Then go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
excuse
me. Todd tells me to move the show along after he slowed it up. We were talking about NASCAR, and then he took the show into racism, and then he slowed the show up, and then he tells me move it along.
Well, I said move it along because Aguna is either drinking the Kool-Aid or he's just I don't know what's happening, but where he would engage these two. Where he would engage
don't tell me to move it along.
You have to, because the Guna will keep saying, no, it's NASCAR. It's just one internship. It's just NASCAR. It's always been, and you're talking to morons. Stop.
We don't know if it's one internship. That's just what he said. We don't know if he's actually telling the truth.
Okay, well, we've got Nas on.
You're mad that somebody else is getting.
Not mad.
Excuse me.
You are. Why'd you bring it up?
Sporlitiks.
I just want equality.
Stop it.
Equality.
Oh, get over yourself.
You can't keep talking over me. Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. Welcome, Nas. He's on. Nas, do you have anything to say about this NASCAR internship that Stephen brought to our attention, which says that they only are requesting that people who are non-Caucasian apply?
Times must be rough over there at NASCAR, man. I don't know what the hell going on. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
How you doing, Nobs?
The mystery man.
All right, we're going to move
One
on
See,
to
now I was
college.
gonna call him a
One
name, and I
football.
didn't do it. See that
Thank
restraint?
you.
I didn't call him a name.
No, that's right. No name calling.
What a
Aguna,
mystery.
college football, Deion
That's a,
Sanders and Colorado. His son went
Mhm.
out there, played quarterback. And what was so interesting when I watched his son throw is he have a twist to the football. If you look at every throw that Shador Sanders threw as quarterback, the ball spun multiple times before it was caught. What type of pass is that called?
A spiral? I don't know. That's how it's supposed to go. But all truth be told, I mean, that was just a phenomenal coaching job. I don't know if Deion Sanders just did such a great coaching job or did TCU do such a lousy coaching job. But Deion Sanders, he won the game. And just keep in mind for our viewers, Colorado was like 1-10, 1-11 last year, and they beat the number 2 team going into last season. TCU was number 2. They went to the playoffs. They were a good team, and going into this game, nobody gave Colorado a chance. I think they were a 22-point underdog. They were, I mean, again, they had just pulled a lot of players out the transfer portal. Deion has never coached at that level. And it was funny in his press conference, he even talked about it. He's like, he's naming receipts. Nobody gave us a chance. Nobody said we could do that. And they went in there. And not only did they compete, they won, but they stayed competitive. The game was a very competitive game. It wasn't like, a blowout, which people thought it was going to be. But for Colorado to go from 1-11 to all of a sudden compete at that stage with that team, with those players, on the road. Now, this is not even in Colorado. This is on the road at TCU. And in college football, it's very hard to win on the road in front of 80,000 fans.
Especially against TCU,
Guys who never played each other. Again, he cleared house when he got to Colorado, right? So it was, I mean, again, whether you like Deion Sanders or not.
I love Deion Sanders, man. Deion Sanders is awesome, man. And you know what? And he's a great guy. He's got a great heart, and everything he wants to do is help people. And he wants to help these kids have a better life. And he brought these kids over that he knows that are good, and they're going to work hard for him. And he believes in God. So he's a great guy, and I'm pulling for him now. I'm gonna put some money down the road on
playing Nebraska. He's playing Nebraska at home in the Colorado home opener. So we'll see if he can keep the Deion magic going. But it was a great game. It was a
great game.
People were rooting. I mean, people lost a lot of money on that game, by the way. I mean, with the spread or against the spread or whatever. Vegas made out like a fat cat. So but it was good. I mean, I think it was good to watch. It was good to it was good the fact that they had that result. So congratulations to Deion.
Yeah,
okay, Todd, did you want to
for everybody else?
Todd, you want to make a comment? Oh, sorry. Todd, you're on mute. Sorry. You're on mute.
Oh my gosh. You put me on mute.
Sorry.
What did you want me to comment on? I think Deion Sanders was one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived.
Yeah, he played baseball. He was a great baseball player. He had a ETA of 3.21.
Ma'am, I don't need any help.
I'm just trying to work with you.
Nas, any comment on Deion?
No whites allowed.
Going against the Nebraska Huskies this coming Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, the Nebraska thing probably doesn't matter. They're really not good. So I don't see that really, changing anything. But ultimately, man, shout out to Prime, the great pool hustler. This is the old pool trick. You walk into the pool hall, you say you don't really know how to play, you draw some people in and win some money. Steven's going to put up some money in the coming weeks on this, and he's going to lose badly because this is not I'll put it to you like this. Does Deion coach offense? The answer is no. Does he coach defense? The answer is no. He's more like Bobby Bowden was in his tenure, where you bring in these guys. The OC that he got is a highly regarded guy. He's running that offense. They got over the second most portal transfers in one season ever. So that's why the infusion of talent is there. This is not the 1 in 10 team that they had last year. It's a really talented team. Shador looks like an NFL quarterback, so who knows how long he's going to be there. But ultimately, this is Prime doing what he does for Prime. And yeah, 21-point underdog to win is amazing. But TCU is not TCU. Max Duggan is in the NFL. That's the quarterback that was there last year. Quentin Johnson is in the NFL. It's the wide receiver that was there last year. A bunch of defenders graduated. So this is not a good TCU team. And I hate to be the
you know
person
what?
who
The people. Wait a minute, now. The people who make
can
the
I finish
spread.
talking?
Generally, the people who
talking?
make the spread know what they're
Can I finish
doing.
talking?
The people that make the spread know what they're doing.
Can I finish talking? So,
Yeah, but it was huge. It was huge.
So, like, I don't want to be the one to pull the needle off the record at the party, or let me update that reference. Take the aux cord out your car. But yeah, this is gonna end really, really badly and sadly for a lot of people who think this team has national championship aspirations.
Yeah, I'm not going to go with that.
This is a bowl
nobody's
level,
saying national championship.
I hear you. This is a bowl winning level team.
They did a good
but
job.
It's a good news story.
They did-
It's a good news story.
People love that.
It's going to come down. They're going to come down to earth fairly soon.
Exactly.
It's not
So
sustainable.
Aguna gets it.
It's not sustainable. It's one of those things where it's the shock and awe. ESPN Sports Center Monday morning. They're going to be talking about it all week. And then if they go into Nebraska, depending on because again, once you start watching film, and TCU, like I said, they didn't run the ball. They did not run the ball up the middle on Colorado at all. And even Deion Sanders says, they're small up front. So teams that kind of game plan and kind of figure it out, which a lot of teams are going to do after that, because they're not. No one, believe me, no one in that conference wants to lose to Deion. They don't.
That's the other part.
Why would you say no one wants to lose to Deion?
Because not only is Deion going to talk after the game, but it's a prestige thing of if you let Deion get in and do this, who's to say the next Hall of Famer is not going to be able to skip the line and be able to do this? Now, 2 to 3 years from now, when Deion gets his guys in there along with the portal, he'll have a monster out there in Colorado.
Right.
So
right. It takes time. College takes time to build these programs.
Well, you never know.
Let's look at Colorado's schedule, football schedule for this season. This season is pretty quick. They have, you see, they beat TCU. You see, they have Nebraska Saturday at 12 o'clock, and then they have Colorado State, and then Oregon. What do you think about that Oregon-Colorado game?
Now, that's not going to be no TCU game. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's going to be an interesting game. And they have a couple of top 25 teams remaining on this schedule. I'm
going through USC, Colorado, Arizona State, Stanford, UCLA, Arizona, Oregon State, Washington State, Utah. And that's all I've got to November 25th if they make one of the bowls.
Yeah,
any of these you think are interesting?
Yeah, all those ranked teams are going to be interesting. They're going to be in.
So for people like Todd, who are the ranked teams?
I know the ranked teams are Cheney University, Lincoln University, Howard University,
Serena
University, Trump University. How about Nas? Trump University?
Oh, Nas is gone. I don't know where he is.
John McEnroe.
Nas.
Yeah.
Nas, did you want to talk about any of these teams for people like Todd who don't know what Aguna meant when he said, how will Colorado do against the ranked football teams? What was he referring to and which teams?
Well, of course, that USC and then that Oregon game kind of stand out. Those are probably games where we'll see like the talent disparity on the lines, offensive line, defensive line. Those are the two areas Deion hasn't been able to address yet because he just got there. So as that talent upgrades, we'll see different things in a few years. But as of right now, yeah, they're going to lose badly in some of these games. But I think they're going to make a bowl. I think they're going to be on primetime games. They're going to be really good for the NCAA. But ultimately, the kids are getting paid finally. Not what they should, but at least they're getting some of it. So college football is a beautiful thing to me this year. I can fully get behind this product now.
So let's talk about that a little bit, about the kids getting paid. There was a time, and I know Todd had talked about kids should deserve to get paid in college sports. Is it just the major
and
teams?
Aguna said they should not.
or Aguna, like you went to the MEAC, right? Aguna, you went to the MEAC, and who else? Who was it?
Do I have to talk about that game really?
No, no,
To
you don't
discuss
have
it.
to. What I'm talking about is if the NCAA college football team should be paid, shouldn't the MEAC and the other conference football students get paid? Athletes?
I mean, they can now. They can. I mean, it's a different product, different opportunity. But yeah, I mean, I think even with college entrance nowadays, they look at your social media presence, they look at your marketability, they look at all that as part of entry down. And again, I've evolved. You're right, Todd. I said first, hey, you get an education, but then I've evolved on the issue, especially after the billions of dollars that these colleges and universities are making as a result.
Well, thanks to me and my tutelage, that's how you evolved.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm open. I'm open to change. I I definitely will.
Then my question is this: we all are growing.
Oh, wait, and Stephen changed his mind too.
Did he?
What do you mean?
About what?
He got on my side about
we're talking about college football.
He did it.
Talking about paying children. Stephen was on the fence about it until I convinced him and Aguna.
I'm still on the fence about paying college students to play football or any other sport. I'm still on the fence about that. I'm not 100% for it, but it is the way of the world now, so you just have to accept it. But I think there could be a lot of nefarious things
diversity and inclusion. Like diversity. No,
I think there could be a lot of nefarious things that happen because of this. Because money corrupts everything. Money could be the root of the evil that can get entwined in the college game that hadn't been there before. We know it's in NFL, but with gambling and sports and everything else, it's all a crapshoot. It's all just
let me say, I know there is a young lady who plays college basketball, and she has gotten 2 deals or 3 or 4 deals with some name brand companies. I'm going to pull her up in a minute, but Todd, why did you think that these student athletes should be able to brand themselves and get money?
Because the name of the game is money. They're doing this to make money. They're playing sports to eventually make money. And while they're in college, the colleges are making money off of them. So shouldn't they take any profits? And they're the ones that put their bodies on the line. I just think it's ridiculous when the school is making money and the argument is, well, they're going to school for free. That doesn't even compare to what the school is making. So I think using your body, you should be getting paid for it.
Keith, do you have a comment on it?
I agree with Todd. I agree.
I changed my answer. I retract everything I just
said.
I think if the students are paying their way to college, if I have to pay for college for an education, I should be able to get paid for using my talents. Simple as that.
Well, that's good. That's a good. That's
good. I want to marry you. Yeah.
I want to marry you now, Keith. But Keith, can you wear the dress?
Nope. Look, no, I'm not going to do. I already told you when you asked me last year.
I don't know why we always have to get. Why do we always have to get married every week? Keith and I have to get married.
Because
why is there a prerequisite of being on the show? Why do we have to get married?
That's Todd.
That's Todd.
No.
I'm already married. Okay,
it's because
yeah, and I've sworn never to get married again.
I'm married.
If I get married again, I am not in my right mind.
Away the milk for free.
Okay.
I don't give my milk.
We were talking about student athletes getting endorsement deals. Do you want to comment on it?
That's Nas, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is like halfway solving the problem. Basically, the NCAA said, okay, we can't pay these kids, but we can get somebody else to pay them. So, name, image, and likeness, NIL is a good thing. They're getting to receive a stipend from the school as an employee because basically they're working a job. Same way a top engineer can walk into any job they want in Silicon Valley while they're in school, and that's seen as, hey, look at that kid using his talent. Or if you're a pianist or something like that, you could go and use your talent. Hell, they sell it during the football games we watch where they show, here's Amy Joe. She works in the science lab. This is why the NCAA student athletes, yada, yada, yada. They're selling that Americana to you. So, yeah, a whole part of when I'm hearing Republicans and free market capitalists on here all of a sudden tell me that a person who works a job shouldn't get paid, that's an amazing conundrum they kind of find themselves in. But, yeah, when you go look at the honorariums that these schools have, the brand recognition of these schools based on what we saw athletes do, Michigan is still eating off the Fab Five all these years later. The great Oscar Robertson, basketball player from in the 60s, they were selling his photo of him jumping, getting a rebound with his legs spread. They were selling that last year. Oscar's still not getting any of it. So, yeah, it's a corrupt organization, and the only way to bring this thing to light was to take them to court and sue them. And now, after they lost the lawsuit, they had to pay a little bit, but it's still not as much as they should pay.
Wow.
I agree with
So I was talking about University of Connecticut freshman Az Fudd. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly, Miss Fudd. She signed major deals before her first college game, and that was last year. But I think now she has even more deals. And she said,
well,
I'm really a pick. I'm sorry.
That's good. Good for her. You know what she can get. That's if that's what you decide,
that's her.
And you decide people are going to get paid and people can get as much as they want. Just sometimes it's going to lead to corruption. But there's so much corruption. How would we even know?
That's her, and her parents both played college basketball. Let's move on.
But Stacey, just flip the dynamic and imagine the CEO of wherever Stephen works coming in and saying, well, if we gave Stephen some money, it's like to get corrupt. We can't give him no money. It starts to sound like some old pimp stuff when you're talking about these athletes and what they should be compensated for. Because ultimately, what did Pretty Tony say in the Mac? If they wake up with some money, they subject to go crazy. See, when you don't pay them, it's easier to control them. And that's why you get those hazing stories, those stories of coaches violating people because they knew they couldn't transfer or leave and they had to stay at the school. So a good part of being compensated is also just worker protection. And yes,
Stacey, could you send me a translation in writing of everything he just said? Because I have no idea what he just said. That was so beyond anything that I could comprehend. It was just beyond.
I can repeat it.
No. I need somebody to write everything out the way it's supposed to be. What he was trying to say, because I have no idea. That was.
I'm going to go on.
Great.
I think the world can go on without you understanding something.
Thanks, Naz. Thanks, Naz. That was good.
Aguna, let's talk NFL, or you want Stephen to go first with his team? And Stephen Naz was talking about he would eat a hat, unlike you, because you said if the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which they did, you would eat a hat, and we have yet to see you eat that hat. But Stephen, do you want to talk about your football team?
Yeah, I think the Redskins will, with Sam Howell, will have a great year. They have got a great defense. I think they could be better than the Giants easily. And I think Dallas will implode the way Dallas always does. I hate to say it, but I think Dak's probably going to get hurt. But we have Sam Howell, and he's going to be a great quarterback. And we have a great receiving team. We have two great guys running the ball. We have a decent offensive line. We have a great defense. We have a top 10 defense. So we're going to make a lot of noise, and it's going to start. Well, thank goodness we're playing Arizona, and everybody's like, wow, this is a power team. We don't want to play this team. They're the best team in the world, but we're playing Arizona. So we're going to destroy Arizona and then put a little bit of fear into the rest of the NFL. And we're going to make the playoffs, maybe not go deep, but at least it's a change. It's a good change. And I do think that the Eagles will probably win the Super Bowl this year, and they'll probably beat the Buffalo Bills. Is what I think is what's going to happen. So it's going to be a great year. I'm going to enjoy it. And the Eagles deserve, because of what happened last year, they deserve their Super Bowl championship, and they have the team that
All
can
right.
take them. I guarantee it.
Thank you. Nas and then Aguna.
Is Nas even there? What's he doing? He's probably
Fell
probably getting ready to attack Keith.
Fall asleep.
Okay, go ahead, Aguna.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited for football. You know, it's a long time coming, and we're only one day away, right? We're 24 hours from now. We're going to be watching the first NFL game. So that's a great. It seems like it was just yesterday that we lost the Super Bowl. Now we're right back on it again. So I'm looking forward to that. Eagles, you know, so there's two parts of this, right? 14-3 last year is going to be very hard to repeat, but I do think our team has gotten better in certain areas. We've gotten younger. We've gotten more mature. So this would be a good time to try to make a run. Now, of course, there's going to be injuries. Of course, there's always the adversity. But I do like the maturation of Jalen Hurts. I think he's grown into a really good franchise quarterback. He's gotten paid. He did what he had to do last year. He worked hard. We got a good offensive line. We got great receivers. The defense is coming along. Got some younger on the front four. In the back end, we kept our corners. So it's one of those things where they're poised to run it back. Injuries aside, they look like a very dominant team in the NFC. You also have the 49ers, and of course, the Cowboys are always hyped every year. But to Steven's point, I do think that, you know, even if you look at what the NFC East did last year by sending 3 teams to the playoffs, and the Giants are going to get better. I mean, they may not be as good as, you know, as the Eagles, I would say, but I think there's going to be some shifting of power in particularly in the East. So I do think there's a window for the Commanders to make a move right there because they do have good receivers. They don't have a hard schedule. They got some good Sam Howell. He's a serviceable quarterback. He knows the system. But it's just going to come down to, you know, that those first couple of games, you know, you get a couple of games under your belt, 3 wins. You know, you only need about 6 more to get to the playoffs. So I can see the Commanders getting, you know, making a run there. Now, again, I don't think they're going to win a playoff game once they get there, but I do think because, again, if you look at the NFC East, even if you're going by the hype of what's going on right now, there are 3 teams, 49ers, Eagles, and Cowboys. You know, everybody else, things are up for grab. You still got Minnesota. You got Kirk Cousins, you got Justin Jefferson there, so you never know. Carolina has gotten a new quarterback, you know, young quarterback. They still got some veteran pieces around, you know, like Miles Sanders is there and Thielen is there. And again, you also have Seattle with Geno Smith. You know, you don't know what you're going to get coming out of the West. And the Rams, they had a down year last year, but they still have Matthew Stafford there. So, and then don't forget about New Orleans, right? You got Derek Carr down there. It seems like he's jump-started their offense a little bit. So there's going to be a couple of dark horse teams that are going to challenge for the NFC title and are going to come out of left field. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pan out. Now, the AFC is a completely different story, but you have so many powerhouse teams that are going to knock each other off. You got Cincinnati, you got Kansas City, you got Buffalo again. And then you still got up-and-coming Miami. You got, you know, Aaron Rodgers now with the Jets. So you got a lot of teams over there. You got Russell Wilson, finally a year in the system with Sean Payton in Denver. And then you got the Rams. I don't think the Raiders are going to be that great, but, again, you never know. And then, of course, the Steelers. You know, you got Steelers up-and-coming. The Ravens are always sneakingly good every year. And then, of course, you look at the South. Jacksonville Jaguars with
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. They had a lot. They were a really good team last year. They came on strong at the end. And looking to kind of build on that. So I'm excited for football. I'm excited for the NFL. I would love for the Eagles to run it back and actually get another title. That would be just great because last time, you know, when they got this, I was shocked, right? So I didn't expect it. It kind of happened, and I didn't embrace it the way I would a second one. So I really do want a second title so I can go to Broad Street, you know, going crazy.
Before we get to time tennis, let's talk about how
we're not talking tennis. We're not going from football to tennis. We're not doing
Well,
it.
we got a U.S. Open is tonight. It actually starts
Yeah,
in
but
2 minutes.
Keith, Aguna, and I all voted not to go to tennis. So this is a
How do you go
democracy.
from football to tennis? Get tennis out the way early so we don't just forget about it. You know,
Just like
So
Todd come and say
before,
tennis, because that's all we hear anyway.
we can't even name
so,
3 tennis players on this show. We can't even name them. Only Todd knows them.
so,
Hey,
so
Billie Jean
Aguna,
King.
Okay. So.
now Aguna, before Todd talks about tennis, I wanted you to talk about how you have been very realistic and down to earth about Eagles' chances, as opposed to saying like the Dallas Cowgirls would say, "We're going to Super Bowl." You haven't said that.
Yeah,
What did
I
you
didn't
say?
say
What did
that
you
because I know
expect?
the NFL is always throwing curveballs, and I'm not delusional like most Cowboy fans. So Cowboys, they think that they're a Super Bowl contender, even though their team has gotten
Every year,
worse. I mean, every
every year.
year, but this team to this team, they added Brandon Cooks, they added Gilmore, and then they got Diggs coming back. They think that those 2 players, older players now, are going to make them a Super Bowl contender. And they're counting on the fact that the NFC in general is weak, and that since Dak is a veteran quarterback in a system with McCarthy's calling the plays, that somehow they're going to make this run. But, I mean, there's some question marks on the offensive line. I think Steven hit it on the head when he said Dak may get injured this year. Again, he's older. They haven't fixed up the offensive line. And the big thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that Zeke is in New England now. So Zeke was a great run blocker. I mean, a pass protector.
Right.
He used to pick up the blitz very well. Now you got Pollard, who's coming off an injury. They drafted a really good kid out of K-State, but he's very undersized. So it's almost like, okay, you're going from this power run game to now this like shifty game. You didn't fix the line, and then you expect Dak to drop back and throw it out to these receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Brooks, and Gallup. And then they don't have to tie it in anymore. Again, at the time, Witten and Schultz, they were Dak's best friend when they were playing, because he just dumped it down to not so much Witten, he was more so Romo. But
that's way back.
Tied in, that's where they ran the system. That was his go-to outlet. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season. And I do predict that I think the Giants may mess around and upset them on opening day. I would love for that to happen, by the way, because Cowboy fans would be just livid.
They would be livid.
Like, Clemson fans were heartbroken with the loss to Duke over this weekend, even though I'm a Carolina fan, a South Carolina fan, and we lost to North Carolina. So South Carolina in general just lost to all the North Carolina teams. Even South Carolina State lost to UNC Charlotte. So it's like all the big schools in South Carolina lost all the big schools in North Carolina. But anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens opening day. I'm excited about it. But yeah, I'm realistic. I'm not delusional. I'm not sitting here and saying, hey, we're going to win 14 games again. It's hard to do that.
So will your fans be able to see you at the Eagles opener?
I absolutely will be at the Eagles opener, and I will be at the Eagles bar in DC for the opener against the Patriots this weekend. But I will definitely be in Philadelphia next week for the home opener, and I will be tailgating, and I will be ready.
So why don't you go up to New England this weekend?
Nah, I got too much stuff to do. I got my kids got soccer. I got
Yeah, you got a life, man. I know.
But I am going to make. It's a Thursday night game too, so that's another thing that scares me about the Eagles. They have a Sunday game, and then they turn back around and have a Thursday game. So I mean, it's kind of sketchy right there. If they can win both games, it's great. Otherwise, if you fall, that's a long time. And
what's the second game? What game are you going to see, Aguna?
They play the Vikings on Thursday in Philly.
Where in Philly?
It's in Philly, yeah. So
that's a win.
It should be, but you never know. I mean, they
never know.
The Vikings,
that's a win.
They hate the Eagles. The Vikings hate
Aguna,
the Eagles.
you were in and out. Your voice was in and out. But I gotta. Okay, Nas was in and out.
Yes.
So, Cousin Todd, can you go to tennis? And the U.S. Open is taking place right now, and as of 8:15, the game started with Carlos Alcaraz, the #1 rated men's player in the world.
Yeah, Alcaraz, he's one of my favorites. I have 3. Nadal is still my absolute favorite, but he's not playing. These guys are getting a little bit older. And what are you doing, Aguna? we're
I'm listening, Todd. I thought Djokovic was your favorite, but those are the only
no,
two guys I know.
no, I do not like Djokovic at all. He's the one I don't like the most. Well, no, it's a few others, but anyway, um,
All right, hurry up.
Malfeas.
You can't take a year to
Oh
do
my
this. We got
gosh!
to move
Now they
on.
just took 3 days
Are
on
we
these
are we
ghetto
done with
sports,
tennis yet?
and now you're rushing me through. Malfeas played the other day. Malfeas
Who?
is, you don't know him, but
Malfi.
he's a
Malfi.
Small feast.
Yeah, Malfi.
anyway. Anyway, there was another player who played. Two blacks played. Was that yesterday, Stacey?
Yes, I watched it. It was TFO and
Tiafo, yeah. And this
TFO and
new guy,
Stetson.
he's 20 years old. He's mixed, black
Shelton.
and white.
Shelton.
And Shelton, he won. I didn't really want him to win. I wanted Tiafo to win because Tiafo has been playing really good the past 2 years. But Tiafo was disappointed that he lost, and it was obvious that was a disappointment to him. But I haven't really been watching a lot of the women's tennis this go round because Venus was shut out. And so it got boring to me.
Oh no! But I thought you like Coco. You don't like Coco anymore?
I do. I love Coco.
Well, she won, and it was exciting, right?
Yeah, it was. But
Then why didn't
So
you
if you
bring
look at
why
the
didn't you
screen,
bring that
that
up? Why
is
didn't you say
Shelton
that?
and TFO in the screen right there. And Todd had to make a comment about his race. No one made a comment about his race but Todd. That's Shelton and TFO right there.
yeah, because he is black.
So what?
And
Okay,
there were
so
two
then why
black guys playing, and we all know
Americans?
that
They are
Venus.
Americans.
We all know that Venus and Serena has elevated tennis to the point where everybody is watching tennis because they're two
No.
black girls. And just like golf, nobody was watching golf until Tiger Woods came along, and he
No,
happens to be
they didn't
black,
watch him
whether he
because he
wants
was
to admit
black.
it or not.
They watched him because he was good, and he was one of the best golfers ever.
That's not true. He's
They
black.
didn't watch him because of the color of his skin. They watched him
Well,
because he was so dynamic.
Excuse me. You're okay. I gotta
I
move
must
this
say I
show
did watch
along.
him because he was black.
You watched him because he was
Did it,
black.
Donna?
Well, maybe
Yeah.
that's a black thing that I
He was
don't
good.
comprehend.
You know what? You have a lot of great white guys who were golfers in the past, right?
Yeah.
You watch them a little bit, but then you hit this guy come out of nowhere. I mean,
Right.
yeah. I mean,
But you know what? I liked him because he was such a good golfer. I didn't care what color he was.
well, you have the liberty to do so. So
Thank you.
thank you for that.
So let me say. So excuse me. So let me say, I did watch the game today, and I was watching Rublev and Medvedev, and they're both Russians, and they said it was so hot on the court. Medvedev said that he's going to just die. And the thing I question is, how come these players don't have any type of representation? They're playing at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, one of the newest, best built stadiums in New York. They serve caviar in there. Todd and I were there last year for a match, and they serve
Did you have caviar?
there.
You had
No,
caviar?
didn't have caviar.
You look like you
No,
had
no.
some just now. Todd looks like he's eating caviar right now.
And so the point is, we were cool. Everyone, they have the best, finest wines. It's not like going to an Eagles game and you're not going to get fried chicken fingers and French fries
for $20.
Gourmet food, right? You're not going to get that at Arthur Ashe Stadium for the U.S. Open. You're going to get more gourmet food, not that type of food.
I used to work with Arthur Ashe's brother. I used to work for about a year with Arthur Ashe's brother. He's a really cool guy.
Let me just clarify what Stacey was saying. That's not everywhere. We were sitting in expensive seats, and you have to be sitting there in order to get that expensive food. And
so my point is, that's what they had around inside the Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Right, but
you couldn't within the Arthur Ashe Stadium, you couldn't get fried chicken fingers and French fries. It wasn't offered to buy.
but let me just again clarify where we were. The average people could not even come into that area to buy those
Oh, the
expensive foods.
average people,
And
people
that's
like
because,
I didn't mean that.
and that's,
the
yeah,
commoners.
sure he did.
The
Yeah,
commoners,
yeah, you did.
the
Hey, show us
peasants,
who you are, Todd, and
the
we'll believe you. Show us
peasants.
who you are, we'll believe you.
I
And
didn't
I
mean
must
it
say,
like that.
full disclosure, the tickets were given to us by Todd's sister, the doctor. And
Yeah,
she paid for them because she's a medical doctor. So she has
she's a
medical doctor
medical
money.
doctor. She's got the money. That's very
Hey, I'm
nice.
surprised they
Slash
let blacks
quack,
in there at
right?
all.
Slash quack.
According to Todd, I'm surprised they let blacks in there at all. According to Todd's
So let me
philosophy.
finish my point.
If you can
Let me finish
afford
my
it,
point.
they'll let you in.
Let me finish my point, please.
Well, how
And my
can black
point is this. How is it that these players do not have ability to be cool? They are overheating right now because of the weather and unable to be cool to play to their full capacity. And do they need, Todd, a union? What do they need for the Arthur Ashe Stadium to make it comfortable for them? And why
Well,
haven't they done that?
well,
Does
it's
someone
not.
have to die first?
need air
No, that was being extreme. They have a roof that closes. So
Whoa,
the
wow! I didn't know
It
that. That
opens and
makes
closes.
sense.
It opens and closes.
that's right. And so you can't. It's going to get hot.
But if
So
you close it and turn on the AC, then everybody's cool, right? Nobody's dying.
No,
nobody's.
it's
Why are we even still
17,
talking about
20,000
Tennessee?
people in here.
Guna, I'm just trying to keep everybody cool, man. I'm not
All right,
interested. I'm
let's
just
move
trying to keep
on.
it going.
All right, let's move on.
Thank
Let's
you,
move
Todd,
on.
for all that you are and all that you do, Todd. Thank you.
We have a short time.
In other words, move on. Let's move on to
We have
Keith. Keith, let's talk about this. Is the first time they put on TV the Trump RICO case where they had the prosecution there talking about trying to, in Georgia, have all defendants and have their case done at the same time. The judge said that be careful what you ask for. That may be a little bit too much for them to be able to handle. Do you agree or disagree with the judge?
Well, probably so because he got so many of them. How many people are being have been in
19.
besides Trump?
19.
Yeah, 19 people. So yeah, I would say duh. The judge is
Yeah,
right on.
but would you say duh when they're doing that with the mob?
Well, they didn't do that with the mob, did they?
They did.
Oh, all of the mob, the whole kid and caboodle.
Okay,
Came.
let's move on because
Yeah.
obviously he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well,
The
I'm asking
RICO,
you. I was asking you. Do you know if all
I
of
have
them?
already asked and answered. This is what they do to get the mob. And as a
Okay.
matter of fact, your boyfriend came up with this in New York, Giuliani.
Mm-hmm.
And
Why do
so,
you? Yeah, you got to stop making comments like that, Stacey. Not making comments like every man is my boyfriend. I mean, you don't want to do that because
boy,
listeners.
I was just, you like Giuliani.
So
No, but
okay, so he's Todd. Keith is checking you and saying stop saying that because that does not apply to him. So
yeah,
Todd, stop saying
yeah.
that.
I mean, I'm not gay, so why are you constantly bringing that up? But anyway,
Constantly
okay.
bringing up your buddies, Trump and Giuliani and the rest of his
No, it's how
flunkies.
you're saying it. So just leave that out. But go ahead, Keith. Do you want to finish your point?
Yeah.
You got 10 seconds.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, it's okay to call them my buddies. Yeah, that's fine. But to say my boyfriends, people might
No,
think,
okay, all right.
So-
I take it back. Your buddies.
yeah, my buddies is cool.
All right,
But
your butt
yes,
buddies.
I would say that
He said your butt buddies.
I did not.
If
What is
judge-
wrong
He
with
just
you?
did. He just said your butt buddies. Come on, Todd.
Todd,
You made a Guna disappear with that statement.
yeah,
go ahead.
Come
Go
on,
ahead.
Todd.
Go ahead, Keith. Come on, Keith.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Keith. You won this argument, Keith. You won the argument.
yeah. I'm just
What
saying.
argument
the
did he
judge is
win?
right.
And he's not going to marry you,
The judge is
homewrecker.
when I don't see why. How can all of them be tried at one time?
Right.
See, nobody's really actually
It's-
Trump. Not even accused of insurrections. That wasn't indictments.
It's all theater, Keith. It's all theater, man.
Yeah, exactly. So
we know what's going on. The majority of this country knows what's going on. I'm not worried about it. It's not even worth discussion because it's so stupid.
So let me share my screen, please. We have breaking news that happened about 4 hours ago. Former President Donald Trump, according to Reuters.com, was found liable for defamation in writer Carol's second lawsuit written by Jonathan Stemple, September 6th at 3:50 p.m. He was found liable, and the jurors will only decide how much the former U.S. president should pay in damages.
The disgrace.
Do you want to comment on that?
Twice impeached
where was
president.
Like Stephen said.
Where was the trial?
Never mind. Let's move on.
It was in New York.
Yeah, it was in New York. What do you think? Hey, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen?
You want him tried in Russia?
Oh, he's gonna have to put some money out. Donald Trump's a bad guy.
One at a time. Stop.
You're not going to have an educated conversation on this issue.
Yes, you're going to have an educated conversation because Donald Trump is not enemy number one to America right now. It's Joe Biden. America's number one enemy is Joe Biden, not Donald Trump.
We can get back to the topic because at the end of the day,
let's get back to the topic.
For him to have all these different cases against him, right?
It's all BS.
Massive conspiracy out here.
It's all BS.
Think about, look, did he do it or not? And if he didn't do it, why would he put himself in the position to have all these things be brought up against him? He didn't. This is a banana republic. This is a banana republic. We're living in, Laguna. You know that. Here we go. So he has he's not responsible for anything. He's not responsible.
Stephen, I said one at a time. This is what I'm going to do. You got 60 seconds, Aguna.
No, he's not responsible for everything that's going on.
Steven, shut up.
Here we go.
He's not responsible. These people are nefarious. These people are liars.
That's his time. Go ahead, Stephen. Finish your nonsense.
These people, the people that are against Donald Trump are nefarious liars. Donald Trump has not done anything wrong. If you can't figure that out by now, then you're either part of the problem or you're ignorant. Either way, it's not my concern. I know what the truth is. I speak the truth. I don't tell any lies. Donald Trump has been persecuted unfairly. Donald Trump has been beat down because he wants to go against people like you two. He wants to go against the people who are the elitists, who think that they rule the world, but he was on our side. Keith knows it, and a lot of us knows it. And the populist movement that he started is going to continue even without him. We are going to defeat you because we are all going to stand up. We're all going to stand up together. It doesn't matter what color we are. It doesn't matter how much you try to divide us.
Our listeners, you just heard that, right? All of a sudden, we're the enemy because we're holding him accountable for the rule of law. All of a sudden, there's this massive conspiracy across the country just aimed at Donald Trump, as if Donald Trump cares about Stephen or Keith. He doesn't care about them. He cares about their money. All right. Look at all the people that used to work for him. Look at all the things that he did or didn't do for America. No, we think we can do better than Donald Trump. This guy is not a victim. If he's a victim like you say he is, Stephen, why would we want him in office to begin with? I mean, at the end of the day, it comes
down victim to our government, the CIA, the FBI.
Stacey, mute him again. He can't help himself because the nonsense that he just said, he didn't say anything about accountability. In America, we believe in accountability. We believe in rule of law. He broke all three. So the fact that you got to defend a millionaire that's only milking you for your ignorance and your money is you know what I mean? We're not the enemy. Your own mind is. You're the independent thinker, but you're not even thinking right now.
He didn't break the law.
Okay. Well,
Stacey
dancing in multiple states. We'll figure that out.
Oh, sorry. Time's up. We're going to move on. We got a comment.
Okay, prove it in court.
Excuse me. We got a comment. I'm going to show our comment. If you look at the screen, it says someone listening said James Hines says, Stephen, please stop talking.
He's not going to do that. In fact, the more he talks, the dumber we get.
No, you were a lot dumber before I ever knew you.
Well, then stop talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
and then
now we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
move
make you a
on.
talking cat. Yeah, eventually you'll be a talking cat.
Excuse me.
Oh, Stephen, that's really good.
The Biden
That's
administration,
the best you can do.
who wants to talk about how they have this? Todd, start with the Biden administration's drug negotiation program.
Okay, before I do that, I just wanted to make
Uh,
one comment about
Of
well,
course
you
you do.
allow this crackpot to go on. I just want the listeners to hear me. When Donald Trump took papers from the White House, he was not president. And he had no business taking the papers from the White House. Now, sensible, rational, intelligent people recognize that. So when he did that and he was asked to give those papers back, he did not. He said, we already gave them back, because he gave a few papers back, and he kept the rest for over a year. This is why the feds came into his house and confiscated those papers.
Okay, I got to move on. We're
Now-
almost out of time.
That's just
This
one
is
thing.
what
he
he's
did.
just said
When
is
the
not true. There's
insurrection-
no truth in
when-
what he just said. He's
You
lying
see
to
Gotta
you.
let him
see what
finish.
he's doing?
But he's
You see this
lying.
idiot. He's
Steven.
such an idiot that he needs to be off
Todd,
this
you
show.
can't. Okay, no, Todd, you can't call people names on here. We're not having that.
Oh yes,
Stop.
I'm calling him an idiot because
No, you're
he's
not.
interrupting like an idiot. Nobody interrupted him. So now that's just one of the things he did that I want the
All
listeners
right, you can't
to hear.
keep going on and on. Okay,
No,
that's
you
it,
allowed
Todd. I got to move
Steven
on.
to go on and
We
on.
have to move on. No, I didn't. He had 1 minute and he stopped.
Yeah,
Then
I
he
didn't even get
interrupted.
that. I didn't get that because he
1
talked
minute.
over
You did
me.
get 1 minute. No, you got 1 minute.
I did not. He talked over
You
me.
did so. Move on, Todd. I have to move the show on. Move on to blood thinners, diabetes meds among first 10 drugs for U.S. price negotiations.
Well,
And that
this
was
is
according to Reuters.com, August 29th.
this is what
Do you see the screen?
we were. Yes, this is what we were. Now I can't read that screen, but I can see it. This is what we were talking about. The Democrats wanted to be able to negotiate drug prices because these drug prices are astronomical, which Stephen agreed with, even though he's back and forth. He's a flip-flopper. So
All right, you only have 1 minute,
when-
Todd. Here you go.
So when the president was negotiating those drug prices, asking to be reduced, this was not blood thinners at that time, it was diabetes medication. Stephen said, I'm not on diabetes medication, so I don't care.
I did not say that.
You did.
I said I want medicines to be cheaper for everybody. They're way too expensive for everybody.
Yeah, okay.
I never said
Stephen,
I'm not
Stephen,
on a particular
Stephen.
medicine, so
Yes,
I don't
you
care if it's
did.
cheap or not. No, wait a minute, Stacy.
Stephen.
He's definitely
No,
lying on me. What
This
I'm
That's
saying
okay.
is, if
You
I
can
take the
refuse-
medicine or not,
Stephen.
Stacy, if I
Stephen, you can rebut him, but you can't take up his time.
which he already
ahead,
did.
Todd.
So going back,
He
Stephen said,
went-
I don't care. I'm not on
he went
diabetes
way
medication.
past his time.
Then he
He
said,
went past his time.
my
Stephen,
time is
follow
still
the
No, he
rules.
going.
didn't. You
Calm down.
interrupted it.
You're acting like Trump,
You
Stephen.
interrupted it.
Did you
Go ahead,
listen?
Todd.
Wait,
Todd, just talk. You've got 25
Okay.
seconds because that's
all
when
right.
you came in.
But Stephen
There
has
you
got to.
just no,
Stephen-
you're egging him
Okay.
on and then
All
saying,
right.
just
I'm
say
just
what you have
saying
to
what
say.
he said. Because he wanted blood thinners to be cheaper or some heart medication that he's on. He wanted that cheaper. I said, yes, that should be cheaper. He's all for that. And so that's in the works. But the whole idea of negotiating drug prices is a smart one, which came
I'm
from
not
the
on any
Democrats.
medication, but I want everybody to get cheaper medication. I'm not on any medication now,
Okay.
but I want everybody to get cheaper
You sure about
medication.
that? Are you sure about
Okay,
that?
go ahead.
Even
Go
though it's a
ahead,
Democratic
Stephen.
idea, it's an
Stephen,
idea from the
You're
Democrats. Usually
using
you hate
no,
that.
excuse me. Stephen has 1 minute. Stephen, are you going or no?
What
I
the
guess
hell
so.
happened to him?
Hi, he can't go.
Okay.
Let Keith
So,
go.
Keith, did you want to go?
Well,
Here's
what is
Stephen.
my
No,
what does
no,
my 1
no,
minute
you're-
consist of,
It's
Stacy?
over. It's
It's
over.
1 minute
You-
to talk about what you have to say about this drug medication, your rebuttal to Cousin Todd.
But
Oh,
I'm not
okay. Let
going
me
to
get.
give you
I'll,
that
I'll get it
time
in.
because
All
you
right.
didn't
Just
give
let
me
me. I'll
mine.
let it. I'll get it in.
Scott.
I want everyone. I want everybody
You
of
already said that.
everybody in this country to get cheaper medication. That's what I
already-
want. I don't care what medicine you
al-
take.
You
I want
already-
your medicine to be cheaper because these companies
You're
are taking
right.
advantage of you. These pharmaceutical companies are taking advantage of you. You don't have to pay this much. Find a way, everybody individually and with groups, and find out with people,
Find a
get together
way.
and pay
How?
less for prescription, pay less for this crap. Because if we all, how is if we all get together, we can overbear the system to where it is now. If we all come together and say we don't want to pay these high prices, what can we do? They have to come down because their profits. Wait a minute, these companies, their pharmaceutical profits are billions of dollars. They're billions of dollars that is not unnecessary. Our prices need to be down. Even if I don't buy any prescriptions, I want your prescriptions, Todd, to be less. Lorazepam or whatever the hell
you're
you're
out of
calling.
time.
Thank you,
All right,
Stacy.
thank you. Todd,
What
now
were
you
you
kept
talking about?
interrupting him. Todd kept interrupting him over and over and over and over again.
I interrupted him,
After I
so
told
it's
him
all
that
we're
he had-
all square. I interrupted him too.
Okay.
We're square.
Okay, y'all square. All right, good.
He
Now
even
let's
said absolutely nothing, Stacy. How'd you let him get away with
let's
that?
move on.
He said,
let's
let's
move
all stand
on.
together to lower drug prices.
That's his response. Mitch McConnell.
Okay.
Mitch McConnell is standing with the U.S. Senate Democrats to push.
You heard that?
To
Mitch
push
McConnell's
through. He's a Republican. He's standing with the U.S. Democrats, the Senate Democrats,
He's a
to push through the Biden administration's $40 billion plus bill that will also help those people in areas like Florida who were hit by Hurricane Idalia and the wildfires in Maui. As Mitch McConnell does that, what chances or what opportunities does the House of Representatives, Speaker of the House, have to stop and not do that because the government's going to shut down in about a month? Keith?
Well, he's going to obviously throw some breadcrumbs to make it look like they really care about Maui. So that's probably going to pass. But I would say, I'd say that Aguna was correct. He's a rhino. He's not really authentic.
Hey, coming from you, that's a compliment.
Well, you know, I mean, seriously, I've known.
Isn't the essence of government compromise? But if you compromise, you're a rhino. And so the Constitution that you tote around that you love so much, you don't even like the way it was put together because that's what it was. It was a compromise.
Yeah, but I love the way it was put together because everyone agreed.
You compromise?
No, that compromise was good because they all agreed.
Okay. So that compromise was good. This compromise is bad because it's helping people in Florida and Maui and it's doing things that's actually moving the country forward.
I said it's going to probably pass and they probably will do it. But I'm just saying
because they're doing it, they're considered rhinos because they're working together and compromising.
Yeah, because they're still spending money, our tax dollars.
We've always spent money.
Ukraine
never spent money. Trump spent more money than anybody else. You didn't.
That's right.
I was going to say they want to give breadcrumbs. They want to get.
Joe Biden did. Joe Biden spent more money than Trump.
What are you
Let me
talking
just finish
about,
my
man?
statement.
Trump had to spend money. Trump had to spend money because of the pandemic. Yeah. So Joe Biden.
Stop talking over me. You guys are talking over me. I'm saying please stop, and I was on mute that whole time. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen, and I want to get Nas and Aguna in because I got to watch my U.S. Open, and you guys are going overtime. Biden asked Congress for $40 billion.
Factual statements before you do that, Stacy?
I never.
Can you be quiet? Biden asked Congress for $40 billion to support Ukraine to replenish U.S. disaster aid and bolster border. Now, the Mitch McConnell, the Senate minority leader, is on board with this. How is he going to make it right? That's my question that I asked Keith. How is he going to get McCarthy, the House Speaker, to agree to this? Nas, then Keith, then Aguna, then Todd.
Oh.
What is your What's your finish your statement, Keith? You got 2 seconds.
Well, no, you said I can go after Nas. Did you say
no? You had the time. I gave you that time. You went first. Go ahead.
Because Aguna was in a.
That's because you kept going back. No, you can't keep going back and forth with Aguna. You have to finish your point. Go ahead.
Let me make my point. So I made my point. I said they want to give breadcrumbs to, the other. They're putting all of this pork in the same bill. I wish that they had a rule where they couldn't put all this pork in the same bill. It should go to one cause. If they're going to give money to Ukraine, give their money to Ukraine. Don't try to hide it in a package of pork that says, "Oh, we got to also give money to Maui." No, see, that is a crux. That's dishonest, and I don't like it. So that's the way I feel about it. It's dishonest. They always do that.
I mean,
thank you, Nas.
Well, I mean, I think eventually they'll get a deal done. As far as the McCarthy section of that group, I'm sure they'll hold that they like. But typically what we've seen over the past few months with Biden and the whole idea of Bidenomics is they create a computer chip factory or something like that in one of these red states, and the local politician comes out and speaks against it and talks about how bad Biden is. And then he shows up on ribbon cutting day to take credit for it. So I assume we'll see more of the same here. But no, this is pretty standard. This is like what's supposed to be done. You got a proxy war going on. It has to be funded. You've had 2 disasters where people have to be addressed. So that's going to be done. And I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But as far as like disaster relief, those things are adjudicated and listed about how much can be given and when. So that first $700 that they spent in Hawaii, that was because that was how much FEMA declared that money could go. And then you have to do additional bills. So nobody's being tricked. Everybody can read the bill and see what they're allocated to. So I don't understand what the opposition to these things are. Are you guys against puppies too?
Okay, Stephen.
Yeah, we need to stop giving Ukraine money. If we had a president that wasn't compromised by Ukraine and China and many other countries, then we wouldn't be giving all this money to Ukraine. We need this money here. We need to do things that are pro-American. We need to do things that are better in our interest, and we're not doing that. We have to stop giving money to keep this war going that's profiting people that are nefarious around the world. That's what this whole thing is doing. These countries are corrupt. Russia's corrupt. Ukraine's corrupt. The United States corrupt. They're taking our money and giving it to these people. And our people here.
Israel?
And wait a minute, our people
Should we
here
not
are
give money
suffering.
to Israel?
Todd, our people here are suffering. But we're supporting a war that has no end. This old war should have stopped a long time ago. People could have compromised. People could have came to some kind of decision. But the United States doesn't want that to happen. What happened, Todd, when we were all together and when we decided the government's way too big and we understand this and we need to say they need to stop doing what they're doing and what they're doing in Ukraine and what they did in Afghanistan, what they did in Iraq, what they did in Vietnam, what they did in Korea.
Okay, thank you.
Why are we supporting the United States giving more money to the Ukraine just to keep it going? And more people are dying.
Okay, so let's tell you, this is how the economy works. All right, it's called the military-industrial complex.
You're talking way over their heads.
U.S. corporations. So we're benefiting, we're profiting off of these wars, right? And it goes to our economy. So when you say, hey, stop giving money to Ukraine because we're not getting anything out of it, we are definitely getting things out of it.
I didn't say we weren't getting anything out of it, Aguna. I'm saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's wrong. It's wrong.
Can I finish, please?
We are getting some out of it. You're right.
Give me your time. Give me mine, please. Thank you.
God bless you.
So that being said, all right, first thing, everybody is against, with Keith and Stephen are against just because they're Democrats, right? They always want to say Biden is doing bad.
Aguna, you can't settle in. You've got 1 minute. Go.
I was talking. What do you want me to do?
You can't settle in. You got 1 minute. Go, Aguna.
In love with Stephen and Keith, and she wants to
know
both of them.
Clearly. So the bottom line of it is this whole thing that Stephen is talking about, this populist movement that Donald Trump is spearheading, is as anti-American as you can get. If you're pro-tariff, we're in a global society. Of course, we need to invest in our allies and our friends and our influence overseas. That's part of our foreign policy. And to sit there and say Ukraine's corrupt, but then you turn around and say Russia's corrupt, but you want to corrupt Russia to beat a Ukraine So we letting them fight over there so they won't take the fight here. It's part of our military industrial complex, part of our government to do so. And as far as the bill is concerned, a lot of that aid that's going on, everyone has to get something out of it. You're not going to have we would love to have clean bills go through the government. That's not how it works because you have too much partisanship going on. So yes, you got to give something over here to Maui. You got to give something over here, and it has to be packaged together so everybody wins.
Thank you, Cousin Todd.
Okay, number one, you cannot marry Keith because he's already married, unless you want to go to jail for bigamy. And you cannot marry Stephen because Angela will kill you. So,
all right, I'm going to quiet him because I told you
your poison.
They don't like that. They don't like that. No more things about them marrying other people.
You were going to marry both of them.
I only believe in marriage between a man and a woman. I believe in a marriage between a man and a woman because the Bible told me so.
All right, go ahead, Todd. Here's your time.
Okay, and then the other thing is, which you can't marry either one of them, by the way, Stacey. I'm just saying, unless you want to get killed by Angela. America told Ukraine, which I've said this 1,000 times, that if you get rid of your nuclear weapons, we will protect you from any foes. And that's what we're doing. We're keeping our word. That's what America does. America keeps its word. So now I know you have people like Stephen and Keith who stays high. They want America to go back on their word. Well, no, we're not going to do that. When we make a promise, we intend to keep it, or else the world will not respect us. See how that goes?
Stop hitting your head. You've had enough hits to your head.
Oh, gosh. Shut up, you home wrecker.
Time's up. Now, you all see, Keith and Stephen, you see how I have admonished Todd for doing that and told him to stop saying things that you don't appreciate and you don't feel comfortable with. And it's harassment, Todd. I
appreciate you, Stacey. Stacey, I appreciate you, but if he does it, it's all good. It's all good. If he does it, it's cool because I know it's coming from Todd, and I'm cool with Todd. So whatever he does, I really don't have a problem with it. I wouldn't sue him in court or nothing. I mean, it's all part of the show.
Let's do our round table. You have 1 minute. We're going to start with
home
Keith,
wrecker.
then Stephen, then Aguna and Nas. If Nas comes back on, and Todd, you can talk about anything you want. I know, Keith, you want to talk about something in particular. Let me see if I can get the article up while you're talking. Go ahead,
Jesus.
Keith.
You're on mute. Use the technology. Don't let the technology use you. Get off mute.
I'm going to use this time to make, you don't have to put it up. Use my time to make this comment. I only have 1 minute or less than a minute. So I just wanted to say that it's interesting to note, everybody, that Todd just said America keeps its word. Wow. That is great, Todd, that you actually believe that. Or maybe you do, that America keeps its word. So having said that, China warned America I think it was last week, warned America or Biden administration not to interfere with Taiwan. I wonder how you feel about us supporting Taiwan in a military conflict. Ooh, that's my comment.
Thank you. Stephen.
Well, I just want to let everybody know. Sometimes it feels like, I guess when you get older like me, that everybody just kind of slips through your fingers and they're not there anymore. But I want to let everybody on the show know. Sometimes we don't get along. Sometimes it gets animated. Sometimes we fight. Sometimes we say things that we probably shouldn't say or we want to take back or whatever. But we should really cherish the time that we all have together. And it's just a little bit of time, every week. And I appreciate y'all very much. And I love all of y'all very much. And it's been a great part of my life for the last, I don't know, maybe 13 years, 12 years, 13, 14, I don't know. But it's been really cool. And really liked being a part of this whole show this whole time. It's been a lot of fun. And nobody ever has any hard feelings about anything. Because we're just, like all we're trying to do is spread the truth and make it a better place in this world. And I know Keith is too, and I know everybody is in their own way on this show. Everybody's trying to make this world about. That's why we care. That's why we're here.
Okay, you're right. That's why we are here, trying to educate and inform and make it a better place, and make sure everyone knows that they are included. Are you saying you're leaving, or are you just saying you?
Oh, no. I'm not saying I'm leaving. I'm just saying I appreciate everybody. I'm glad we're here, and I'm glad we still have this show, and it's been going on for so long, and it's just it's really great, and I appreciate all of
it's
y'all.
been going on so long, but thank you, Laguna.
No, I don't agree with everybody all the time, but I love all of y'all, man.
I love everybody.
Yeah, that's right, Nas. Oh no, that's right. You said that, didn't you?
Yeah, so I appreciate that.
Sounds like a lot like Nas.
It's been a great journey, and let's continue. Yeah, so we got to heal. This country has to heal. I think we're seeing a lot of things in the news right now, and people are entrenched in their position. But at the end of the day, I never thought in my lifetime I would see what I'm seeing going on. And we got to move on from it. And whether you're a pro-Trumper or whether or not you believe it's true or not, I think America deserves better. I think we know we should do better. I think we should hold people accountable. And if it's whatever legal troubles, whatever things that are going on, we need to move on so our democracy can move forward. And there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that we're not even talking about. Look at sub-Saharan Africa, where a lot of authoritarianism is taking root and democracies are falling all over the world. And we can't even do anything about it because we're dealing with this situation here at home where we're dealing with an twice impeached and incarcerated president, and there's a segment of this country that wants to jump in the fight with him.
It's all phony.
You know what? Let's just move on as a nation. We deserve better. Let's focus on and heal. And that's all we're talking about when we try to move on from Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump is good for this country. I definitely don't think he deserved to be president, and he showed that through the way that he governed, and for the people that work for him. I know people that work for him. I know they would never work for him again. If he treated his friends and his colleagues like that, what do you think he's going to do to you? So I think it's important that no matter whether or not you believe what's going on, not believe what's going on, the fact that we're put in this position means that we need to get out of it and move on together and heal.
Thank you, Cousin Todd.
Maybe.
Okay, had Donald Trump done one or two things, it would be no big deal for me. Like, for example, paying a porn star to have sex with him. I would say, oh, well, so what? Even though that's wrong.
He didn't pay for her to have sex with him.
Stop. Let him talk. It's almost you're at the round table. Let's go.
So if that's all he did, I would say, oh, well, who cares? But that's not all he did. Like I said, when you take papers that don't belong to you from the government, that's a crime. Had any of us done anything like that, we're even working at the post office, you would be in jail. So you can't do that. Then when the insurrection was going on, he watched it on TV and never tried to stop it. Now, I know some people think, oh, it wasn't an insurrection. They just broke down the windows because they locked the doors. No, you can't do that. How would you like it if somebody broke down your doors and your windows to come in? So Trump is just not good for America. And I don't know if you watched the Republican debates, but Nikki Haley said Donald Trump spent $8 trillion.
What?
Nikki Haley, did you want me to repeat that?
I don't have any respect for Nikki Haley.
Of course not. You don't have any respect for anybody that
said,
talks against Donald Trump.
No, I'm not a Donald Trump. I'm a never Trumper. I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical of Donald Trump. I am skeptical of Donald Trump.
If you're a populist,
I believe. You know what a populist is? Somebody who likes people. You know who's anti-populist? The left, who does not like people. That's why they're pro-abortion. That's why they're pro-abortion, because they don't like people.
Stephen,
Because they're
this is his round
pro-abortion.
table.
They don't
You
like
came
people.
in and took over. You came in and
That is
hijacked
not
Todd's
what
round table.
means.
All
This
right,
is
Todd.
Todd's
Todd,
round
I'm
table.
sorry.
Okay. All right, sorry, Todd. But let's
Sorry,
go
Todd.
to the definition of
Todd,
populism.
we're sorry.
Okay.
Give him a little more. Give him a little more time, Stacy, please. Give him some of my time. I yield some of my time, and Aguna should
No,
yield
matter of
some of
fact,
his
we're out
time.
of time. To our first responders in our first community, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To our women and men for all that you do in sacrificing your lives so that we are free to choose whatever we want to say on this show. We are forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker,
And Diva.
and my cousin Todd. I'm Stacy Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going. Check us out on TikTok, Twitter, or I'm sorry, X, Instagram. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Check us out on Threads and Twitch, and Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network. We will see you and be back next week at 7:30. Good night.
Good show.
This is
That was a
crazy.
good
And how
show,
dare
Stacey.
you take up my time and allow them to talk over me and then get out?
Well, you're the one who went on and on when I told you to stop talking about the marriage stuff, and you just had to.
What are you talking about? Listen,
He didn't like that, and I told you to stop, and you kept it up anyway.
I
And then when I
said,
gave you your time, you sat there and
Stacey-
you kept talking anyway.
I said Stacy wants to marry Stephen.
So we're
and Keith.
even.
I said
Did
Stacey would go
he
to
say
jail
Stacy wanted to marry Stephen?
and Keith. Why can't you hear?
No. Did you say Stacy wanted to marry Stephen?
And Keith. She
Oh, I
wants
didn't.
to
I didn't
marry
hear that
both.
part.
Well, now you did.
Well, thank
So,
you. Thank you for at least a beautiful female. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Hey,
always
Todd.
it's always me and no offense, Keith, but you're not my type.
yeah, right. I mean, no, I
Hey,
know it's not.
Todd, I want to ask Todd, what do you think of Taiwan? I mean, should we support Taiwan even though China is trying to take over?
What,
Yes,
so Keith, why are you fixated on that? By the way, I mean,
Because
it's like
you
what's
fixated
going
them
on?
on it.
Because Todd said that we should keep our word and support Ukraine. So I'm saying if Taiwan is our ally, should we support Taiwan as well?
We do. We sell them arms.
Okay, so
what do you think
China,
about? I mean,
China has warned us not to interfere. I think China wants to take over Taiwan. Stephen,
what is China? China does not look. Listen. I don't care what
Stephen,
China says. China does not want to go to war with the U.S. because they make too much money from us. Okay, it's a global economy. Where do you think we get all our good?
You're gonna stick to that.
That you're wearing something right now
you
made
know what
in
I'm
China.
Made in
Yeah,
China.
you're gonna
Yes.
stick. Yeah, no, Aguna, we are so.
Is there
We're
anything
so.
on you in your house that's made in China, Keith?
Everything
We are
they
so
got on
indebted.
is
We
made
are
in
so
China.
indebted. Aguna, you're right. Aguna, you're right. We're so indebted to China. We don't have a choice. They control so much of everything that we buy.
So,
We
if that's
just
the case,
purchase.
why do you think they
We
want
purchase from China. They control so much of what we buy, Aguna. You're right. And it
What
shouldn't
you
be like that,
buy.
but it is. That's why our country is and our Democrat Party is so in bed with China
Democrat.
because they own us right
Republican.
now.
Republicans aren't?
China
So
owns the United States right now.
I'm getting out of here.
Trump isn't in bed with China. Trump isn't.
Well, wait, I want to show. Wait a minute, Todd.
Trump's not in bed with China as far as I
He
know.
just gets
I
his
don't know.
ties.
I want to
Yeah,
show
he gets his
this.
ties made in China, but he's not in
This
bed
And
with
is-
his
China.
daughter
Excuse me,
has
this
7
is a-
patents in China.
Aguna, you might be right. You might be right, Aguna. You
So
might be
here
right,
we're
Aguna.
measuring debt. Excuse me, look at this. We're measuring debt by president. While the president does have a huge impact on national debt, budget deficits, which lead to more debt, also occur in response to unexpected events such as increased defense spending after September 11th terror attacks or government aid during the COVID-19 pandemic. So this is debt by U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt. This is according to Investopedia.com. Franklin Roosevelt was number one, then Woodrow Wilson. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, but
And
Yeah.
then
Jimmy Carter.
Ronald Reagan,
hmm
George
George
W. Bush,
George W.
Barack
Bush.
Obama, George H.W. Bush, Richard Nixon, then Donald Trump, then Jimmy Carter.
No, but
then Bill
all this
Clinton.
this is kind of out of order.
No, this is what
Where's
they
Joe
found
Biden,
in
man? Where's Joe
percentages.
Biden? Show where Joe Biden is.
This is a little
I
bit
don't
out of
think he's
order.
not out of his. Joe Biden. Oh, they have him right here. You see him? Joe
He's all the way
Biden
down
is
at
right
the
here.
bottom. Wow, look at that.
That
Jesus,
just tells
okay.
you, Stephen, you
8.8%.
don't know what you're talking
Interesting.
about. These are factual numbers. But
Yeah.
Fox News doesn't tell you that. They just
I don't watch Fox News.
okay, well, the dark web doesn't tell you that.
I don't watch the dark. I don't know what the dark web is. The dark
Well,
web sounds scary, Todd.
Well,
It
the
sounds like
deep
a
state
web
doesn't
reminds
tell
me
you
of
that.
spider.
You
So
gotta
the
look at what
person
was
who
going
put us
on.
most in debt is Franklin D. Roosevelt, who started Social Security, which I find
Yeah.
very interesting. And
And that's
Woodrow
exactly
Wilson,
right. That was
Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the third.
Social Security. It goes with socialist. Social Security, socialist.
Oh my God.
What were they
I
doing
know you're very
before
simple.
that,
You're a very
Stephen?
simple human being, Stephen.
What were they doing before that? They were dying at 65, broke and hungry.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
All right, guys.
Thank
Good
you. Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Win
What
this
a